I'm diving deep into the mind of a basketball legend who not only conquered the courts, but also faced his own battles off the court.
I find it unbelievable that the fans are booing you here. Does that hurt your feelings?
Yeah, my feelings are hurt, man. I mean, I'm just out there trying to play and have a good time, and my feelings are hurt being from Philadelphia.
2002 MVP, Kobe Bryant.
I'm unraveling Kobe Bryant's candid conversations about mental health, exploring why it matters and how he approached and encouraged others to approach life's challenges. Let's kick off things with Kobe's take on the importance of mental health.
I think mental health is extremely important. It's an issue that is now coming to the forefront, but in the past it's been an issue that's been pushed down, neglected, either out of embarrassment or believing that you're the only one that is experiencing that. But now it's coming to the forefront, and I think it's a great time to be able to address some of those issues and some of those challenges, to try to use those as a source of strength.
What I think a lot of us have difficulty doing is using these mental health challenges that we face as a source of strength. And I loved Kobe's insight on how to do this.
At first, I think it's getting over the stigma of it being something that is embarrassing or a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of weakness.
Wait, struggling with your mental health isn't a sign of weakness?
It is not a sign of weakness.
What if you feel anxious, Kobe?
It is not a sign of weakness.
Okay. But what if you're feeling depressed?
It is not a sign of weakness. I think that's step one. And then it's opening up and sharing that experience with others. That's how you build a community of strength, right? By getting others to open up and share their journeys and share their stories, you wind up inspiring each other.
But aren't you weak if you have to open up to somebody about how you feel?
It is not a sign of weakness.
Got it, Kobe. Thanks.
It is not a sign of weakness.
Gotcha. It's not a sign of weakness if you feel...
It is not a sign of weakness.
Yeah, I heard...
It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of weakness.
While feeling anxious or depressed or just struggling with your mental health overall isn't a sign of weakness, you don't want to be in a space where you're feeling like that all the time, or you're feeling like that for a prolonged amount of time. What can you do to make sure that you don't?
You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear. And to the point where you're saying, okay, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in the situation.
I've said this. I'm sure you've said this to yourself. I shouldn't be scared. I shouldn't be anxious. I shouldn't be sad. And then what happens?
It does nothing but grow.
Here's what you should do instead.
Versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course.
What do most people do when they start to face an uncomfortable feeling? They hide from it.
Don't hide from it.
That feeling will never go away unless you allow yourself to feel it, process it, and then you can start to move on from that.
Every day is just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter.
Wait. That sounds familiar. Efforts, not your results.
It's the figuring out that matters.
Yeah, and we all get obsessed about the results.
Yeah.
Like we get obsessed about like the output.
Yeah.
Not the input of not figuring it out and not like changing things. What you said, trial and error, like the experimenting.
You may think, I feel weak that I even have to do this.
It is not a sign of weakness.
You get in that thought process and you start to just push or ignore that feeling because it's uncomfortable and you don't want to feel weak. It's not true.
I think it's important for athletes
and you
to own what it is that they're going through. It's awareness, right? I think a lot of times we try to tell children, tell young athletes in particular, that if you have those thoughts and those feelings, that's weakness. That's bad. You shouldn't be feeling that.
It is not a sign of weakness.
Which then causes them to feel some type of way about themselves. Right? They carry that around with them for the rest of their lives. And I think the most important thing is for us to be aware of what's going on in here.
Being solely aware of how you're feeling without judgment on yourself is so powerful.
Not that it's bad, good, or indifferent, but it's awareness. And once you're aware of it, then you can choose to walk hand in hand with it, or you can choose to fight it, but you're making that decision. If you just can constantly bury that in the distance, then it starts festering and it comes up in different ways and manifests itself in different ways.
It will never go away until you bring awareness to it, allow yourself to feel it, and then process it. Or like Kobe said earlier,
unpack it, and then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is.
the mistake comes when you follow the foolish advice of
Don't believe in depression.
acting like what you're feeling isn't real. What you feel is real, but that doesn't mean you just sit in it forever and just cry, woe is me, I can't do anything. I don't believe in doing that. You have to go back and do what I said earlier. You bring awareness to it, allow yourself to feel it, and then process it. Then you can move on with your life and do what you need to do for yourself as well as for the people that need you and rely on you. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't do this, not only to yourself, but to other people around you. And remember,
Mental health is extremely important.
and just because you feel anxious or depressed or fearful and you're trying to work on those things,
It is not a sign of weakness.
I'm gonna keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, or even questions that I don't have. But I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
if you're new to this channel and you like this video and you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and consider giving a like to this video as I post mostly content about social anxiety, but also about general mental health. And I thought this was a fun one to kind of dive into the mind of Kobe Bryant and what his thoughts were on mental health and how you should be taking care of it, and kind of seeing how he went about, taking care of his own mind and how important that is, not only just to daily life, but as an athlete as well. Until the next one, peace.